اكتشف المبتكرين في كل أنحاء الوطن. صاحب مشروع في هذه الطبعة، منهم 14 أهلوا لهذه المرحلة النهائية. مشاريع جد قيمة، مستوى عالي جدا. نتمنى لكل المشاركين النجاح في منظم هذه المبادرة على هذه المجهودات. في كل مرة اكتشف المبتكرين في كل أنحاء الوطن.
All right, so welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us for this special Melaine webinar that is titled Startups and Algeria's Economic Competitiveness, Opportunities and the Path to Overcoming Challenges. So this event is proudly organized by the Algerian Scholars and Competences Abroad group, is called ASCA, and this is part of our commitment to promoting science, innovation, and meaningful dialogue around Algeria's development. So today's themes could not be more timely, basically. In a world where innovation drives economies forward, startups represent a powerful engine for growth, job creation, and global competitiveness. In Algeria, the potential is real, but as you know, there are so many challenges. And this webinar aims to open a space for discussions on how the startup ecosystem can evolve, what are the obstacles that still hinder its full development, and what practical steps we can take to support entrepreneurship and knowledge-based industries in our country. So today I have the pleasure of moderating this session with Dr. Mohamed El-Hossein and Dr. Bilal Jahoud, also with the help from Dr. Mohamed Boutaoui. We are joined by 6 outstanding speakers from professional backgrounds, and each one of them will give a focused 5-minute presentation followed by a specific question to have deeper in the discussion. After all the presentation, we will move into a panel of conversation where we'll ask additional questions and engage with your input.
Hello, can you hear me?
So just as a technical information, we are currently streaming on. Yes, we are hearing you.
I need a signal that I can.
We are hearing you.
We can hear you well.
Yeah, so just as a. Yes, we are hearing you. We are hearing you.
She is impatient to speak.
Yeah, she wants to start. Yeah. So yeah, we will start. So just as a technical information, we are currently live streaming on YouTube, on Facebook, and on our LinkedIn page. So please do not hesitate to write your question in the chat throughout the event. This is an interactive webinar, and you will be much more than helpful or useful to participate. So thank you again for being with us today. And I am now delighted to present our first speaker, who is Dr. Nadia Boutaoui. And Dr. Nadia Boutaoui is a scientist, an entrepreneur, and innovation advisor. She holds a PhD in genetics from the University of Reading, with over 15 years of research experience in respiratory disease, including a research experience at Harvard Medical School. Dr. Boutaoui is the founder and CEO of NanoNair, and advises also startups like iDoc and ProvenMed. She is a recognized leader in AI and healthcare innovation. She's named she's named Woman of the Year in 2023 by the Society of Foreign Consuls in New York City. And she's one of the LinkedIn's top 40 global thought leader. So now, Dr. Nadia Boutaoui, We have a question for you. So can you please introduce your startup and what define a startup in your view?
Absolutely. Am I on the screen? I just need the confirmation. Hello, everybody, and I'm so happy to be here giving back on a very special day, the يوم العلم in Algeria, the Day of Knowledge in Algeria, commemorates a leading figure that shaped the modern history in Algeria. So I'm so happy to be here. I'm Dr. Nadia Boutaoui, and I'm the founder and CEO at NanoNurse. I'm going to share some slides with you. So let me share my screen here, and I will go through what shaped my journey as a founder, as a leader in AI, and also as a scientist. So I'm going to share with you a few strategies that I believe can help leaders to grow their business by leveraging AI. So briefly, why is AI very important now? It contributes over $15 trillion by 2030. We are now at AI is the new electricity in the new age. And startups that leverage AI can grow faster and attract more investment. It's a business advantage, not just a tech advantage. And I believe Algeria needs to be part of this shift. Think of AI as the internet in the early 90s. That's the closest I can compare it to. And we have the talent, we have the resources to be part of this AI revolution. At the micro level, I know you care about your startups, your businesses, your career. It boosts 64% of businesses. They believe it can increase their productivity. And 3 out of 4 leaders, they think that the benefits of AI can outweigh the risk. Not only that, but the workforce, close to a third, 2/3, they believe that AI has a major impact on them. However, that doesn't come without any concern. The leaders are concerned about the opportunity, the missed opportunity. How do I keep up with it? And how do I implement it correctly? Not only they are concerned, they're also feeling overwhelmed. They have the pressure to adapt, and they also have the uncertainty that comes with leveraging it the right way. So briefly, as I mentioned, I'm Dr. Nadia Boutaoui. I've been in the innovation and startup world for a while now. I've worked in top institutions, and my mission
It seems that we lost connection from Dr. Nadia Boutaoui.
yes,
Okay, you're back.
uh, without being overwhelmed. So how do we grow without the overwhelm? So briefly, as mentioned, I'm the founder and CEO at NanoNurse, and we are making drug development effective with better preclinical testing. The problem in drug development that it
Are you
takes.
here, Dr. Boutaoui?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, all good, all good.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
awesome. So the problem with drug development that it takes a long time, and 3/4 of that cost of the 1.5 billion per drug that makes it to the market happens in clinical trials.
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, all good. I think John Faiz has a delay, but it's all good.
Okay, awesome. So the problem, despite having 3/4 of the cost of drug development in clinical trials, that's where most failure happen. So we believe it's because of the preclinical tools that are available. They're not
Yes.
predictive of success in trials, and that's what NanoNero comes in. We develop preclinical organ-on-chip technologies with the goal to increase the success of drugs in clinical trials. I'm also involved as an innovation and growth advisor, senior advisor with a couple of healthcare companies. iDoc, it's an AI-backed platform that has both a platform and a kiosk that will enable people to track their health and match them with the corresponding healthcare provider before they get sick. And Proven Med, which is proudly founded by an Algerian team, they develop tools in the urology sector and now move into health monitoring by enable people to listen to their bodies with home tests. And that's combined with an app on your phone that turns your phone into an AI lab so you can monitor your health at home. Another collaboration that I'm doing with another Algerian scientist is the AI content coach. So we've seen as founders that growing your brand is very, very important so that you can build that trust, that trust factor as a leader in your field so you can attract opportunities to your business or to your startup. So if you're interested in the AI content coach and be early adopters or users, you can scan this code so you can create content in your voice that will help you achieve your business goals by talking to the right target segment and move them through that decision journey. So how do I see AI value in business? I see that in three major areas. One of them is enhanced decision making. A second is improvement of efficiencies. And the third is to improve customer experience. And that third one is very important, especially whenever there is commoditization of services using tech. I will share three strategies that I personally think can drive business growth, and we can discuss that in the session. The first one is you need to gain clarity on what business area you need to use AI for, clarity about your capabilities, about your goals, about what talent do you need in-house versus outside of your organization. So start with clarity. What problem are you solving? The second one is the efficiency, and you see a lot of solutions in this area. And I believe businesses, especially startups, they need to focus and to gain first the clarity, and then second, who do they serve? By finding who you serve, who your target audience is, who your segment that has the most painful problem that you can solve, you can move the needle and grow. And the third one, when you save time through efficiencies and automating your processes and so on, this will save you time that you can have better customer experience. And that's a big differentiator as a startup. Not only that, but you can use also AI to leverage and repurpose, whether it's your content, whether it's your solutions and so on. So you can save even more time to offer a better customer experience. So I'd love to know from the audience watching us. Yes.
If you can conclude.
Hello? Yes, I'm going to wrap up in the comments as we discuss this. Which area do you think would offer you brings the best value in your business? And you can add that in the chat. Those are strategies that I go over for AI mastery and business growth. You can contact me to find out more about these strategies. And if you'd like to make a difference using AI, start with understanding the problem you're solving, who your customer is, where they are on that journey, and position yourself as the guide who can provide that solution to take them through that journey. And with that, I'm going to end here, and you can contact me, scan this barcode, and I'd be happy to take any questions. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Boutaoui. We already have a lot of questions in the chat, and we will definitely try to give and discuss in the e-panel session. I mean, after the presentation. So now, yes, thank you very much, Dr. Boutaoui. And now we will pass to, and I would like to welcome Dr. Samir Tahraoui, who is a telecom engineer with a strong passion for open source software. He has worked with major players like Orange, Mavenir, and Capgemini before co-founding Lably, I don't know. He will tell us more about that. A startup focused on accelerating the adoption of next-generation network. So Samir brings a unique blend of technical depth and entrepreneurial vision to the future of telecom innovation. So Samir Tahraoui, you can share your screen, or if you want just, and also I would like to ask you to introduce your startup and what define for you a startup.
Thank you for the invitation. So I'm Samir. I am an engineer. I'm not doctor, but by the way, it's good. So I am the co-founder and CEO of LabLabby. So let me share my screen. So I will, share more about LabLabby. Okay. So, is it okay? Do you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Okay. So yeah, I'm telecom engineer. I spend all my time in telecom, working for different kind of companies, doing engineering, research, development, and sales, pre-sales. And in 2021, with Mahfoud, my co-founder, we created LabLabby. We funded LabLabby as a enablement platform for helping engineers to get skills and expertises in future networks like 5G, IoT, and cloud. So with the idea, having skills in different way, adding more hands-on experience with labs. So we provide virtual hands-on labs in this kind of technologies. So today we operate in different countries. So we raise more than $5 million. And idea of this short talk is sharing my advices about all the mistakes that we did before during the fundraising process. And yeah, so LabLabby is focusing on mostly telecom and industrial sector. So we work mostly with B2B. We are we define ourselves a B2B startup, and very happy to share more about it later. So yeah, LabLabby in few maybe few seconds. So what you are seeing is the platform. So the idea of the platform is instead of having only theory like learning, so you can get like this kind of diagrams and contents, and you get directly connected to a lab. What is a lab? A lab is a virtual environment where you can test or play with different kind of technologies. Here in this case it's 5G. Like imagine you have your 5G dedicated lab. You can use it for research development, for integrating solution, for understanding how it's working. And the purpose at the end of the day is having like impactful skills. It's not like learning for learning, but learning with getting skills. So let's talk about fundraising journey. I wanted to start the journey just to pick the to put the big picture. So fundraising is about rounds. So you have different rounds. So you have pre-seed, C, Series A, and after we have more growth rounds. So each stage you have kind of focus. At the beginning you want to have MVP, you have an idea, and after you have the kind of product market fit, and after you focus on growing the revenue. In each stage you have kind of KPIs that you needed to fundraise money with the investors. So for example, in pre-seed, here the idea is showing that you have a good team, the good products, without maybe a revenue, but showing that there is a potential of markets. And after in seed, pre-series A, showing that you have first customers, and after is all about revenue growth and profitability. And during the round you can raise different here it's just an idea, but depending on the sector, depending on the geo, you can raise different kind of ticket size, and based on the valuation that you will negotiate with the VCs. One interesting metrics that were shared by one famous investor, like 60% of the startup fail between the pre-Series A and Series A. This is why today I will focus on my real world experience, focusing on early stage rounds like before Series A, and sharing some advices to co-founders if they want to raise some money for VCs. The first one is about the team. Okay, the team is very important in the first day of a startup. So you have like a co-founder, or you have like first employees for developers, marketing, sales. So my best advice, for any kind of startup, so hire slow, because you have to assess the people. You need like to have like personal fit, and also like team fit, and fire fast. So why? Because more you are losing time with kind of let's say blockers, internal brokers. So you will kind of create like a negative energy in the team, and you have issues, and it's difficult to solve this kind of issues later. So more you can getting this kind of decision quickly, more you can get better results. So this is very important. So the team is very important for fundraising in the first rounds. After the product, so as a tech founder in general, like as Algerian, we are very good at tech. We have very good products, but one of the and even from our side, the mistake that we did, and many tech founders did, like they are building a product without talking with the customers. So here from day one, when you are building products, you have to talk with users. Even you don't have any revenue, it's very good to showcase to investors that you have this kind of methodology. You are building the product with the customer, and you are getting some insights, some feedbacks, to have your roadmap. And this is the advice for product directors, or even CEOs, if they are building a tech product, start talking with users, and you will see. So they can share your feedbacks. In general, people they like to share feedbacks. So share them like free trial access, and you can get insights. To build like a very good product, and get a product market fit. Regarding revenue,
please.
Sorry.
So if you can wrap it up, like you have 2 minutes max left. Okay. We can take more in the discussion when we ask questions. Don't worry, we have a lot of questions for you all.
Okay. So yeah, regarding the revenue, so the advice is starting small. Don't look for big contracts, a lot of contracts, or many customers from day one. The idea is starting small, like getting first customer stories. Even with the same company, if you are B2B, start small with one team, and after you can scale with others. So the idea of here is what generally mistake of the co-founder is trying to sign all the deals or the contracts of the customers, so it's not working. The best to sign deals is to focus on specific accounts, or having like at least segments, and after you can build the customer story with this kind of segments on vertical, and after you can scale it. My last advice, and after we can exchange during the Q&A, is about VC fits. In generally, like mistake of startups. So talking about all VCs, like different sectors, generic VCs. So you have to understand, if you are in healthcare, for example, there is very specialist VCs in healthcare, like focusing on investing in healthcare. If you are in edtech, there is specific edtech VCs. So my advice here is talk with vertical VCs. So they will understand your products, they will understand your challenges, and they can help you after if you get money from them. Okay. So this is some books advice that helping me a lot during my first journey in startup. And yeah, please if you have any question after during the Q&A, I'm here to answer.
Thank you very much, Samir. Actually, your experience, it's really like a good experience that show how you can go from 0 to 100 in a very few time. And we will have more questions that will be targeting your particular experience in the next session. So now next we have Omar El-Mohri. He is a tech entrepreneur with ventures in both Canada and Algeria. With hands-on experience in startups and business strategy, Omar specializes in applying AI to real-world business challenges. And now he works at the crossroad of technology and impact, And today he will share valuable perspective on how AI can shape Algeria's startup ecosystem and boost economic growth. So Omar, same question. Just tell us, how do you see the startup, and introduce yourself. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi. Well, thank you very much. So I'm getting involved into multiple businesses as we offer at IP Connects. We offer solutions or custom solutions for small and medium businesses. So for that reason, we are involved in multiple industries and multiple scales or multiple sizes. And we started by providing software, hardware, solutions and integrations, and with AI tools. So we were able to leverage that to kind of help these companies to scale fast, sometimes even find solutions to complex situations where they are lacking resources. And so AI was a great fit for that. So what I'm going to share today is how startups can see or find way in AI, because it's so fast, so large, and there is a lot of things to do. So how to take advantage of that. So I'm gonna present my screen, so today I'm gonna focus on AI for startups with an Algerian perspective, not to everybody, or at large, because that's gonna be just overwhelming. So actually, what we see today is that in Algeria we have an advantage, or multiple advantages, or at least we had them until today, with affordable tech talent. So we are really competitive in the international market, and we have like youth and skilled resources. So that wasn't a real great advantage. And adding to that, like multilingual, so we are able to go to the Arab market, African market, European and North American. We got really an advantage where we have French and English speakers. So in some parts of in Canada, where we are located in Montreal, so French and English both at the same time are really a plus. So where other markets like Eastern Europe or maybe Asian market, they're not able to compete, and we will always be competitive at that point. But the issue is that what we see is, with AI now, everybody is cutting costs, and we are losing that advantage. We are losing at many fronts, and we need to kind of use that in order to get back into the game, or at least not lose in the future. So now everybody is using AI to cut costs, to accelerate, to automate, and to also use multilingual products, or approach like different languages, market with different languages. So that's the reality now, and everybody is getting into, and there is a lot of competition. So knowing all these, look, we need to kind of get into the game with while bringing again our skills, our advantages. So the way you see it for our side, and we are also applying this because we had a lot of resources in Algeria to act into the Canadian market, American market as well. So the things that we need to focus on is that instead of going to build from scratch AI tools, so what we do is that we leverage anything that is available, any tool. Like we have like some existing tools that like ChatGPT and Claude, like things that we are familiar with. This is just a couple of things that to mention, like the well-known ones. But any tool that will accelerate the work, automate things that will help us go faster, that's always will be welcomed. And also our focus is with AI will help us also get into markets that we weren't able to get into, and because of the speed that we can gain with AI, now we will either be focusing on Algerian market, as most Algerian-based startups do, but we focus also like worldwide. We can go into the African market, the Middle East, or maybe even North American. So because we can understand all those markets. So yeah, going again to the in terms of speed. So we have at different levels we can apply AI, like we are mentioning here, like a couple of things like communication with customers. It can be really fast and really effective. Our customer support, what we see sometimes when we approach international markets is that the lack of understanding of culture is difficult, but with AI tools we'll be able to kind of erase that, or at least reduce that gap. So we can also control quality with automated process. So we need less resources, and even our cost is low. We can still get it lower and get it faster. So in sales channels, we can also use these tools in order to grow fast and grow with multi languages. Even we now maybe we work with French, English, like new generation is more comfortable with English, but we can also get into different market at the same time. We don't need to master all these languages. We can even grow beyond that. So just quick 5 things that we think that we will it will help us. So
Or if you can go.
yeah, that's the last one actually. Yeah. So we don't need to focus on building the infrastructure for AI or building the model. So we need to use what's existing. We need to build on top of that. So we need to use the tools and build and go further. So also, like, we need to focus on speed, on execution, instead of getting into the basics. So we need to kind of wrap up quickly. Also, we need to take advantage of our culture. We have a mixed culture, including European, Middle Eastern, African. So we need to use that as a tool that other countries or other regions are not able to do. And based on all these, like, we will be able to build things locally, but to address the whole market. So things that other regions like Eastern Europe or Asian market were doing for years, but now we need to focus on that. So these 5 things that I think with AI we will be able to execute tremendously, like really good on these things. So that's actually the result from the way I see it. And if you have after that any questions, we can go further. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Omar. You have actually a very, very, very nice perspective and very positive. So I think we should all get from you all possible information to try to be as much efficient in our startup or in our entrepreneurial experience that you would like to do. Thank you very much. So now we go to Dr. Younes Khadraoui. Please welcome Younes Khadraoui with me. He is a co-founder of Nimla, a cloud-edged orchestration platform with over 9 years of experience in software development, network protocols, and machine learning. Younes is at the forefront of building scalable tech infrastructures for the future, and his expertise bridges cloud system with intelligent automation. So, Younes, can you please give us your view about the startups, and please go ahead.
We can't hear you.
Sorry. Thank you. I will say again what I said. So thank you for inviting me. And
we cannot hear you, Younes.
We can hear you now.
Okay. So can you hear me or not?
Yes, all good.
Okay. Great. So I'm trying to share my screen. There you go. So you should be able to see my screen. Can you tell me if you see something?
Now we can see it. Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay. Thank you again for inviting me on this very particular day. It's really nice being here with you. So my talk is more about from research to startup, as came from the research world and how it kind of helped me going into the startup world and co-found Namla later on. Just a few words about my past. It's important because I came from research, and I'm a pure product of research. So I did a PhD, and then I worked as an R&D engineer in telco software engineering, and I had then several roles in companies like Sanofi and Mantua. I was also a R&D engineer, but more on the ML machine learning side. I put some pictures here about my city, which is Busada. It's I just want to mention it. It's not always the occasion to do it. So just a few words about what Namla is. As it has been introduced, we allow organizations to deploy and manage large-scale distributed AI infrastructure. So what is called commonly edge computing. Now we hear a lot about edge AI, which is bringing AI capabilities locally back to what we call the edge. And we built a platform that solves most of the challenges that can be encountered when dealing with this kind of distributed infrastructure, which is like deploying this infrastructure securely, connecting to these remote locations, and managing these large-scale distributed infrastructure. Where you can think of devices like being distributed across hundreds and even thousands of locations. So managing becomes a real challenge. And on top of it, we focus a lot on orchestration, which is the ability actually to deploy and manage the life cycle of AI workloads and applications at these edge locations. So we touch all of these aspects of the edge, which is the deployment of the infrastructure, the connectivity and security, the management, and at the end, the orchestration of workloads. We tackle all verticals, going from oil and gas, energy industries. We do a lot of smart cities and even like transportation and 5G. So it's really a horizontal platform that can help companies in a lot of verticals to use it to deploy their workloads at the edge. So you see the application of AI is at all levels, all verticals, all industries. And a platform as ours is really the underlying infrastructure. So you can see it as the AWS for the edge, for example. So quick history about how we came up with the idea. The idea came up in the beginning from Rabah itself, who actually was working in distributed systems. And the idea was to see, we discussed how to propose a cloud native edge orchestration platform, which is like focused on the cloud native way of doing things, but with advanced network and security stack. So Rabah had a lot of experience in distributed systems. I had personally a lot of experience in ML, machine learning, and AI. I was working, my latest position was at Sanofi, where I was working on visual inspection, which is really AI at the edge in the factory. And we had a lot of troubles on how to deploy these AIs, manage it across distributed factories. And again, I was in an industrial environment, which is like factories. So we had a lot of challenges about security and connectivity. So when we launched in 2021, we immediately raised 1.2 million. So I won't go into details here. Samir talked a lot about fundraising, and we recruited a limited but agile team. So we didn't want to recruit 100 of people. We didn't have the means, even though it was possible in Algeria. But we recruited a very limited team, and we decided to go global very early on. We didn't focus on a very specific market or geography. We decided to go very global very early on and to tackle any opportunity here and there, which is not the obvious way, and neither the usual like piece of advice that you would hear from mentors. But we decided for a lot of reasons. We launched, and as Samir told and others told in the beginning, we talked to customer very early on and continuously. So even though we didn't have a product ready, even though it was like just in the beginning or just a couple of slides, then just an MVP, but we talked to customers very early on, and anyone that we supposed to be a customer. So we decided to talk to customers just to be sure that we don't go into a wrong direction, and we adapted very quickly also. But we also stick to the vision. So it's important to stick to the vision, even if we talk to customers, to just don't get influenced about anyone that would give you an idea and you think that, okay, it's a good idea and I will build it. You have very limited resources, so anything that you do takes time and takes resources. So you need to have a clear vision to be focused on it, but to adapt to the various like comments that you receive from people that you think are customers. We leverage a lot of our network also. We worked on a lot of companies, and it's very important to leverage the network because that would probably be your early customers. So I've been asked to give my opinion on what is a startup. So for me, it's more than just a small company. Actually, it's really an entire journey from the beginning to the end, where you have very limited resources and you need to identify a problem. Hopefully you already identified the problem you're working on, and you need to build fast on solutions that you think are solutions for that particular problem, and to bring it to market very, very quickly. It's not always easy. In our case, for example, we focused on infrastructure, so it's not like building and bring to market tomorrow. It takes time. It takes a lot of effort to take a platform to market, but you need to lower down that time and to be as quick as possible to go to market. And of course, you need to be resilient. I mean, there will be a lot of ups and downs. You need really resilience along the journey, and you learn by doing. So there is no magical formula. You really need to continuously test things, and you need to fail fast. You really need, like, if an idea is not the right idea, you need to identify it as not the be.
1 minute.
Yes, I'll go to the last slide, which is probably the most important one, which is my opinion on why researchers make good founders. I am a researcher too. I came from a research background, and usually you have a deep expertise on a particular subject, which is very, very useful in case you're building something, not just something high level, but really, infrastructure, maybe AI, maybe something else. You also usually focused on solving problems. This is what you do in research. So you're trained to identify and solve complex problems, which is very useful in the startup environment. You have an experimentation mindset, which is very useful in startup. You are used to test and fail and iterate, and you have critical thinking, which is also very nice to have in startup. You came from an innovation perspective, so you've been in research, you've been innovating all along your research journey, so it's very helpful in a startup environment, and you are used to work in team. I mean, it's one of the most important things in a startup. You need all of this, and this came from a research background more than other backgrounds. Of course, other backgrounds are cool, but from a research perspective, it happens to have all of this, which is usually we hear a lot about people saying that researchers don't make good founders. I believe that's not the case. I mean, you can see it the other way. You came from a research environment. You have all these expertise, and they are very, very useful in a startup environment. Hope I was in time.
Yes, thank you. Faiz?
Is
think Faiz he's not
I
responding,
think,
so maybe somebody else
yeah,
can take over.
I think it just has a bit of a delay. You are mute, Faiz.
Mute phase.
We cannot read your lips. I can take it from here. So our next speaker is Samy Melaine. I hope I spelled it right. So
Yeah.
as we are tight in time and we exceeded the time we gave already, so I will leave you to introduce your startup, yourself, and also define what is a startup in your opinion. So if you have the slide to share, please do.
Yeah, of course. I don't know if you can see the slides.
Yes, give me just a second. I put it on stage and you can start now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for organizing this event. So I'll present rapidly myself and what I did in the past. So I'm a tech founder. I have a background in computer science and AI from Babzois. And I went to Lyon just after my studies to France. And I've built a first consultancy firm with my co-founder, which was basically going to companies, asking them if they had data, cleaning that data, training that data, and deploying some models that did predictions or gave them values. And it was very manual. So that was not a startup. We were about 5 people and we had like 20 clients. And if we had to go up to 200 clients, we would have to be 50. So that's not scalable. And that means it's more an SMB than a startup. So that's how I would define something that is not a startup. Yeah, because basically that's how we used to do AI in the past, because 2017 is very old in the AI age. So yeah, it was main manual, and you had to have a lot of skills in AI to create models and use them. But after 2020, with the AI as a service movement, there were a lot of players who came with a lot of models deployed that any developer could use. So anyone can use now AI. You don't need to have a master degree in machine learning to do that. And the thing is that the market is pretty crazy. The AI market is pretty crazy. You have tons of new models and new tools that come out every month, or sometimes every week. So we decided to consolidate that into one place and democratize the usage of that. So making these APIs and these AI models simple to use. And that's how Eden AI came to be. And at Eden AI, we are about 10 people. We are in France, but only 9% of our users are in France, and the other 91% is in the US, in India, which is big tech market, Europe, Middle East, not so much in Africa, but we have quite a few people there. And yeah, we are pretty global with a small team because it's a product and it's self-service and it can scale very fast. And that's how I would describe a startup. Yeah, I wanted to talk about hiring and how important that is and how that might define your company. So first thing that you have to know is that if you don't have a startup yet or didn't build a company yet, is that building a company is a team play and being alone is very complicated. If you are a lone co-founder, it's very hard, but it's more complicated if you are more than 5 co-founders. So you have to be careful with that. And yeah, I think the most important between founders is trust and complementarity, ideally. Each of these hires, I would say, can be a separate presentation, but I will go rapidly on each one. So yeah, having co-founder is very important. The best team would be a client plus a builder. If you're building an agriculture firm, if you have a farmer and a tech builder, is the best combination you might think about. Mentoring is very important. If you can get some people who live the same experience as you are about to, that can help you not make the same errors, it's very important. It's very important to choose them right, because, for example, if you do some sales, B2B sales in your startup, taking the best sale at Uridu, for example, might not be the right thing to do because it's a big company. It's not at the same stage as you. So you have to be careful about who you pick and make sure they live the same experience that you are living, like creating a small company and growing it up. So that's important also to have a network. So if you have mentors that have a network that can introduce to people, that's very important to have. And yeah, that's the main thing about mentors. You need to have them, if you don't want to do a lot of errors and try to avoid some of them. But most important thing after that is your team, because as I said, it's a team play. And we have the great honor and the chance to have amazing mentors. We have about 20 angels, and some of them built $1 billion companies. And we had the chance to have a lot of them who created things that resemble what we do. So mainly developer tools, so tools and products that are meant for software developers. And I put pictures of two of them who helped me a lot on the hiring part and gave me a lot of advice that I ignored. And so I did a lot of mistakes, but the positive thing is that when I do some mistake, I remember what they told me, so I understand that it's a mistake and I try not to do it again. And here are some of the mistakes I did. So hiring good enough people is bad. You need to look for rock stars. And as Samir said, you have to take your time. Don't rush. If someone has 10 years experience, it doesn't prove anything. You have to take the time to assess that person. And usually there were some red flags. There's things that I don't know how to do this. I'm not sure it's doable. This is very bad sign. If someone in your team tells you, I don't think it's doable, it's not in the right mindset, even if he has a lot of experience. I can do it in 2 or 3 months, and that's the only way I can do it, is a very bad sign also. That means if you have client and you tell them, I'll come back to me in 3 months, you just will never hear of them again. So having people who can react fast and produce some software, even small versions, and increment that makes more sense. So that's a red flag. And I need my tasks to be clearly defined weeks before I start to do them. That's also a very bad sign. So a lot of people who work in the big companies have a roadmap and things they know they will do for the upcoming weeks. But that's not the luxury you have when you build a company. You have to pivot a lot and think about the next step, which will be next week, this week. So it might change a lot. And if you don't have someone flexible enough to handle that, then yeah, it might be good enough, but not really good. Not good enough, actually, if you have that. Hiring too many people is very bad. If you have the money and you think you will go fast by hiring more people, that's usually very false. And because it will most probably slow you down, because hiring people means you have to manage them. You have to understand their needs. Sometimes there will be some conflicts that you have to manage, etc. So hiring people before product market fit, which will be hard to define during this presentation, but I mean, if you don't have a lot of clients pushing you and trying to have many features and paying for them, it's not the right time to hire people. If you're not losing clients because you don't have enough people, it's not the right time to hire people, because you will just have problems to handle after that. And the last point is rushing the hire process, which will be linked to the first point. If you find yourself saying, I don't know, this person is good, but maybe not good in this part, but good in that part, it means you don't know exactly what you're looking for. So you'll have to spend a lot of time thinking before hiring, what do you need exactly the person to achieve? And if you find yourself saying, yeah, I don't know, let's give him a little more time and see, it means, again, that your hiring process is not good. Your role was not defined well enough. And as Samir said, you have to fire fast. But to fire fast, you have to have a very thorough process and not just fire people based on your opinion or something like that. You have to know why you're firing them and fire them faster. I think that's a
Thank you very much for your presentation. All talks for now are so exciting. And moving on now to our last speaker for this session. His name is Sofiane Lesage, or Lesage. I'm not sure if I spelled it right. You tell me later. He is the CEO of Riwaya Travel. Sofiane blends sustainable tourism with cultural exchange and youth innovation in North Africa. And Sofiane, please tell us more.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for your presentation. Thank you for the invitation. And I'm very happy to be here today to speak about a topic we don't speak a lot about, which is tourism in our country. So first of all, I want to answer and introduce myself. And by introducing myself, I want also to open yourself to the subject of tourism in Algeria. So good evening, everyone. I'm Sofiane Lesage. I'm half French and half Algerian, and I'm actually the founder of Riwaya Travel, which we define ourselves like the first premium and sustainable travel agency in Algeria, with actually a deep tech DNA, I'll say. So we build immersive travel experiences from tourists in all over the world. But also what drive our growth, I'll say, isn't just like the landscapes of Algeria and the travel of tourists from all over the world to Algeria, but it's more, I'll say, the data, how we use it, how we make that data, giving us, automation, and also the way we're going to do design thinking after that. So for us, because the future of travel, I'll say, isn't just about where people go. It's more about how they book, how they feel about the travel they're going to make, and also how ourselves as entrepreneurs, we scale that business, intelligently through data knowledge. So first of all, I wanted to focus more about Algeria as a sleeping giant destination, I'll say. This is not my words, but it is the word of National Geographic. So since we are one of the first promising, startup on the tourism sector in Algeria, our industry, unfortunately, lacks, I'll say, of the very foundation of modern tourism data. So we don't have actually at the moment. It is some of the challenges we faces. We don't have definitely very important, reliable visitor statistics. So we focused on our travelers, to make that data able. And also the other big challenge on that is that the market is still very new on that. But where is the data infrastructure? It's thanks to the smart booking engines that we provide to the tourist from abroad, and also to the AI-powered itinerary that we build. So we use AI, artificial intelligence, to make the itineraries available to any tourist. So like 90% of the travel agency from all over the world doesn't use AI yet. We can provide, like in only seconds, the itineraries the way that the traveler wants. And also we can personalize, thanks to the data he's going to ask us, since we are a big country of 58 regions. So if the travelers from all over, from another place in the world, you wanted to focus mostly in a region or mostly in a city, thanks to what we've done before and the work we've done before, we are going to be able to give him an itinerary within a short time. So Actually, Riwaya Travel, as I said, so we're like a case study in smart travel. Indeed, we have smarted small, but we are, I think, building smart. And we use automation to find out our new travelers, like thanks to B2C journeys and also internal dashboards on that. And we're also, as I said, experimenting, AI to generate this travel content, and also it enable us, I think, to bridge the gap between remote local guides that are very difficult to find out in Algeria and international markets. So we're giving visibility to the Algerian destination, we're giving reliability also to the tourists from abroad, and we're giving value to community often left behind, which is something very, very important. So I want to focus also to the opportunity of how Algeria can scale on the tourism sector and also on the travel tech sector. So if we want more tourism startups to emerge in that field, we need more than passion. We need infrastructure. And I think Algeria can focus and prioritize, tech incubation with tourism-specific focus that could help startup like us building, smart maps, review platforms, marketplace apps, or also like us, AI trip planners. We have also to build, like with the few operators, open tourism data. It will be very helpful if all of us, have data about how many tourists goes to the desert, how many goes to Ghardeya and everything. So we could definitely, point out all of that. All of that we can make all together in that sector. And also the last thing I'll say.
If
Yeah,
I'll go. I get the excitement, but if you can wrap it in 30 seconds, we will ask you questions later about more details.
No worries. So I'll go very fast. So the future of travel, I think, isn't just about where people go, but it's more about how they get there and how we can reach customers from abroad. So with travel tech and bold entrepreneurship, I'm pretty sure that Algeria can become more than a destination. It can become, a model on how we can perform in that tourism sector.
Okay, thank you so much, Sofiane. I get how excited you are, and this is very positive and very inspiring to all our audience. And I just want to remind our audience as well that we see your comments and your questions. Please keep posting them, and we will choose some, and we will pass them to the speakers to answer them. So for now, we move to the next session, and we start with the question. I pass the word to my colleague, Dr. Mohammed Belhussein.
Assalamu alaikum. Hi, everyone. So I'm Dr. Mohammed Belhussein. I am more bioinformatic and genomic. I have small startup doing small analysis for students and for some companies, but I am not reaching level that you have. So I will start my first question to everyone, like if you can answer in like half a minute, how the idea of your startup came, what triggered this idea, what was the first thing that opened this idea in your mind. So we can start like by the ladies first.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, that is an awesome question. I recall in my research leading a genomics lab in respiratory diseases. So I'm here at the University of Pittsburgh Children's Hospital, a top medical school, 10 medical school in the U.S., and studying asthma in kids. And 2 of my kids had asthma, and despite having like access to top of the line doctors, specialists, I saw firsthand they didn't have access to adequate medication to treat complex disease like asthma. So I got interested in how do we move that discovery from the lab to the clinic, from the lab to the market, so we can help the people that need it the most, including my kid. So I did what's called tech innovation and entrepreneurship just to see how do we bridge that gap between the science, the discoveries, and the market. And it wasn't enough for me. It was almost like two silos that you have the research on one side. Most of the publications are behind paid walls that other people don't have access to it. On the other end of the drug development, it's so lengthy and complex. Out of 10,000 compounds that get screened, only one makes it to the market within 10 to 15 years at a cost of 2.5 billion when you combine the whole cost. So I thought there got to be something to improve in that process. And we narrowed it down to the preclinical testing. What are the methods being used? And we found that the models that are used to test those drugs in mice, because of cost effectiveness and so on, and regulatory requirement, they don't get asthma. They can be sensitized, meaning you can make them asthmatic, but as soon as you remove that trigger, they go back to normal. So it's not the best model for studying respiratory diseases. And I'm going to get a lot of heat for that. But there are alternatives. What if we can take the respiratory system, recreate part of it before we put anything in human, test those drugs there to increase the chance of it succeeding when we test it in human? That was the idea behind NanoNext.
So if I understand, it was your personal story, so it triggered this idea.
Yeah, and it was a big market, and it was around the pandemic where there was a hype about respiratory diseases, so the timing was right as well.
Okay, if someone else also can answer for me, for the tourism, the last speaker, how the idea to create your startup
I think Sofiane lost connection.
He
left the, yeah.
Okay, so I can pass to another one. For example, Namla, how the idea Namla came.
But the name or the idea of the startup, because we have a lot of questions regarding the name.
We want to move on. So.
I'll start with the idea. It's easier. To be honest, the idea, the platform and the solution that we have currently is not exactly what we started off. I guess all startups are probably the same situation. Yeah, you start for something, but you evolve. But we had like close to it was the same idea. It was how to. We've been working, the three of us actually. We've been working on infrastructure, networking for Rabah and myself. I was more on the AI on the field, so AI. Not in the cloud, but really in the factory. And we saw that it will be a thing, like having AI executed locally will be something, especially in factories. And I was in a factory, and it was quite impossible to have something in the cloud due to the architecture of the factory and how things are organized there. So there was like no way of having AI in the cloud. But I saw a lot of use cases like visual inspection, enhancing the production lines and so on. And we knew that it will be obviously in the factory. It will be also distributed a lot because you have obviously a lot of production lines, a lot of factories. And there were disconnection between the production people and the IT people. And IT people were more, software engineers people, DevOps, IT. And the guys working in the production were really people working on the factory and the solutions in the production lines. So we kind of coupled and found out that it was actually all the same problem. It was an infrastructure problem, how to manage distributed infrastructure and allow these AI workloads to be deployed across all these distributed locations in a seamless and efficient way. And then it was like an idea that evolved in the time, but the general idea was that we saw that AI will be something at the edge ultimately, and it will be largely distributed, and there will be a lot of AI workloads deployed locally. and the conclusion we had in the beginning was that it was an infrastructure problem and not an. Of course, you have a lot of AI problems, like solving AI problems, like how these AI models will run on small devices and so on. That was really our problem. The problem was how to solve the distributed infrastructure, how to solve the connection, the security aspects, and how to solve the way you will deploy all these workloads across these thousands of locations.
Okay, thank you very much. It's very interesting. I will ask the same question for Samy, please, for your startup, how the idea came.
Yeah, so again, the same thing with what we do now is not what we did first. But basically, what happened is that when you come for people who for tech people who are in French, they know the main recruiter in France are a consultancy firm, and they will just take you and go see clients and tell them, hey, we know we have someone who is pretty good at AI. If you have any AI task that need to be handled, we can lend it, lend you his experience, and then can do that for them. And yeah, that was my first path choice, but I was like, with my co-founder, we were like, wait, we can do that actually. So we decided to go ourselves to the companies selling our expertise in AI, and that's how we started the consultancy firm. Just selling ourselves instead of making other people sell our talent.
Approach, yes.
Yeah, and then we saw the AI market grow and transform from being a specialized people market that have experience in AI and are skills in AI to getting democratized to all developers and all people who have some small technical skills. And we went into that move, and we combined all the tech tools that you need to build or use AI into one place. That's how it came to be as it is today.
Okay, I need also to hear from Samir, if you can tell us about your startup.
Yeah, of course. So I think it's quite similar. So I faced the issue personally. So I was trainer. During the training experience, like a lot of customers were requesting for labs. Training in telecom are mostly based in theory. So you have slides or kind of content. So, but people were asking for more hands-on. The complexity of in telecom is very difficult to get hands-on expertise because you have to buy very expensive hardware and like antennas, equipment, servers, and we think about an idea with Mahfoud how we can have virtual labs, okay, and the idea came from here. So making hardware-based labs in virtual, because the timing was perfect, because telecom and networks and all the industries are moving to the cloud, and they are deploying more and more, like even in Algeria with the recent announcements, so with the cloud strategy, so more industries and company we're moving to the cloud. So the idea is how we can create the same environments, the same experience, but in a cost efficient way and a scalable way. And yeah, we did it. So we start with with the first labs, and we tested with few customers and they like it. And this is how we came from an idea to MVP and after products.
Last and not the least, Omar, if you can tell us about how your idea started and came.
Yeah. So I think there's two ways. Either is it the question to understand the background that's always like coming from circumstances, like starting. We started the company inside an ISP, so we started getting solving problems for our own ISP, and then it evolved where we started seeing others approaching us with their own problems, and we start solving them. So we thought that there is something there. There's an expertise that can be leveraged. So that was the story, and I think it's, if the question is to help the audience to understand. Yeah, so ISP, like an internet service provider. So and if the question to help the audience to understand how to get into a startup, usually there is no right response. It depends on the situation of the own person. Like our own experience will always define what we are, what ambition do we have in which industry, and what are our skills, and even the way to execute is dependent on the founders themselves. So yeah, and the experience of everybody in the in today here shows that everyone has his own background, his experience, which led to the project that they're working on. So
Thank you. Thank you. I will pass to Bilal to ask the next question.
So actually, my next question has been also asked by some of the audience, and I will choose two of you, but if anyone else feel like expanding on it, please do so. So I will choose Younes and Samir. And I mean, naturally, whatever project you do, it's not like pink, as they say, like a pink dream and so on. You face challenges wherever you are. So if you can tell us one or two challenges that you faced when you started your project, and also tell us how did you overcome that challenge. So if we go first with Younes, and so if we go with Younes first, if you can tell us.
Yeah.
Briefly, what is the one challenge, the biggest challenge I think that you face, and how you overcome it?
We have a lot of still ongoing challenges that we didn't figure out to solve. But probably the number one challenge that we solved is the execution part, which is going from the ground to building a project. And it's really tough, especially when you're building large projects, not small project, really infrastructure platforms. I don't know, maybe large software, AI, whatever. It's really hard to go from an idea or something that you have in your mind to an actual thing that you can present to a customer and showcase and show it in front of customer. And I would say that I mean it's probably a lot of answers together, but the number one thing that we did continuously and it helped us go along and go forward is to never get stuck into the brainstorming step. And I think it was probably my failure on all the ventures that I had in the past, was like continuously brainstorming, trying to imagine the best architecture, the best platform, the best software, whatever. And it's something that, because it's nice actually to keep talking about things and strategize, but probably the number one thing that can help you is really to build things. I mean, going from that idea step to start building the initial product and go, and then continuously building things that you can present to your customers, be like execution, like going from, you have an idea, you have a comment, you have a new piece of things that you want to implement. You never get blocked into the discussions and brainstorming and building architecture and so on. Is really trying to continuously build things. And this is why, because at the end, the number one thing that your company has most valuable is your product. I mean, if you don't have a product, you won't sell anything. So it's really important to keep building your product, continuously implementing things that you have in mind. And this is how you will learn ultimately. I mean, you will build things that obviously won't be useful, but at least you will build them very fast. You will remove them from your list and go to something else.
Thank you, Younes, for this answer. And if I got it right, so basically you are saying just trust the process and don't give up at the first fall, just keep going. I will ask the same question to Samir if he wants to share one of the challenges he faced and how he overcame that challenge.
Yeah, with the pleasure. So yeah, first I share like the same challenge with Younes. So I can complement with another challenge, like related to execution. At the beginning, when you want to build the products quickly, you will start like to have a team like engineers and like stuff, and you need money, right? So money for sales, marketing to get customers, because startup is about having a product, but also having customers. And one of the biggest challenges that we had at the beginning, as first founder, plus targeting the worldwide markets, and is not easy, like from many reasons. So accessing to investors were very, very difficult. So we had very a lot of bad stories with some investors. I think I talked with with more than 300 like VCs and investors at the beginning. But the lessons that I learned, like the first investor in LabLabi was my ex-manager. So sometimes your investor is something someone that is why is every time I'm telling to students and engineers to keep very good relation. Maybe your manager, or it can be your, if you build the startup, you can be your first investor. And after the very the best learning that I had, like never like keep learning, keep testing. Why? Because how we get our first VC, it was through a competition, like with the SoftBank, no, not SoftBank, like Silicon Valley Bank. So they open like pitch sessions, and we were not selected for the the first, let's say selection, like part, the first phase, rejected from day one. But one of the judges, like an investor, is very famous VC. So he saw our solution and he liked it, he loved it, and he put more than 1 million in LabLabi. And all the winners of this competition, they didn't fundraise any money. So the lesson that I learned from this. So keep sending, like if you are fundraising, keep sending, like maybe you will find one investor in thousands of investors that you are targeting. But just keep your motivation. So it's you can get it if you believe in your products. So you can get an investor even you don't have any connection, like you don't know what is a startup ecosystem, you are building your network. So you can if you believe in your product, you can get investments. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
And just to finish, like recently I had very good discussion with two co-founders, like from unicorns. Having challenges is good. It's very good sign, because even them, they have a lot of challenges, like about hiring, about firing. So having challenges is very good. It's not bad sign, by the way. It's very good sign. So having challenges is just proving that you are working in your startup, you are executing.
I have to agree with that completely, 100%. I mean, challenges are actually what shapes us and makes us what we are today. And since I have heard two really exciting answers, I'm really interested to hear from the rest their challenges. So I will ask you kindly if you can answer the same question, but briefly, so we can move on to the next question. And I can start with Samy.
Yeah, the biggest challenges, I think it's going from having no one using your product or interested in your product to having the first people. And because it's very frustrating at the first couple of weeks, months, it depends how much time it takes, to not have enough feedback or enough people interested in what you do. But that actually means that you might be building products for yourself. So you have to understand that very quickly. And recruiting your customer is the most important thing you do before recruiting your people. So that's the most important thing you have to understand, is that you're building something for customers. So you need to hire them. And for us, the most impactful thing that we did was to go into weird places like Reddit and post about our solution and answering people who had AI problems on Reddit or on Stack Overflow and things like that. So it was a little bit out of the box kind of thing. We started talking to companies, and they were interesting, but it was a very long path. But inbound was what made it all different. So to go into the internet, talking to people, random people who have the same problem that you are trying to solve, and finding them where they are was what made everything change for us. And we went from 0 people coming to the platform to thousands of people signing up each month. And yeah, so you have to think outside the box and try to imagine where you can find your people and go where they are.
Okay, thank you.
Omar have maybe something to say?
Yeah, Omar as well. If you can briefly share with us one of your challenges and how did you overcome?
Yeah, I think the others shared really relevant challenges that maybe most startups will go through all of them. However, I want to share also a challenge at a personal level with the founders that most of the time it's a matter of perspective. So we all had experience as doers and then changing as a leader of startups. So we need to be more of a visionary. We need to play multiple roles. And I think absolutely that was for me and for many others that probably the case, that switching from the doer, the person who do things and be involved in all the process, to be someone who is more of an orchestrator, maybe giving the vision. So that's a little bit difficult at the personal level and requires a lot of work, a lot of exercise. So in order to delegate tasks and share the vision and articulate the vision, that's one of the biggest challenges that will be at maybe the first days of the startup.
Yes, I think it's also need to have a trust in your team that you delegate for them this tasks. So this is sometimes it's more difficult. You give this task to your team, they will do it as my vision as I want, and it's very challenging, I think. Yes.
So we still have Dr. Nadia if she wants to add something, and I'm sure she does. So please, but do it briefly. You are muted.
You are muted.
I have a couple ones. One, and I'll keep them short. One is on a mindset level. Being a researcher and being in business is two completely different mindsets. The first one, you are so focused on high reproducibility, replication, and so on. On the other side, in business, you're thinking, what would be the minimal viable product? What's the minimal information that I can make an informed decision and move forward? So that was a big one for me, switching from that researcher and balancing the business side of things. And on the startup level, focusing on the who and who you solve your problem for, and understanding their problem. So in many startups, they have the solution, the product. They are so focused on developing the product, but they ignore getting insights, deeper insight about who they solve the problem for and what the problem itself is. And taking the time to understanding the problem, to talking not only to customers, but to stakeholders that make up the map where my solution will be solving that problem, is key to developing products that people are willing to pay. That is a growing problem that will sustain your business. So those are the two that I thought was critical. First of all, on your mindset to switch between that doer/leader, as brother mentioned, and also who do you need to be as you grow as a leader in 4 or 5, beyond the 5 years, so you can grow also within your startup. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Now I will pass the word to my colleague Mohammed, who will ask the next question.
So I have a question. I thought it's very important question because it's, as you all said, it's very difficult to build a startup, to have the idea, to create this idea and to make it work. So, but for me, I think even it's more difficult how to maintain it later. Okay, even if you have 2-3 customers, you start having customers, there is the maintain your startup on long term and be ready to have some problems, how to solve them. So I will ask this question only for the sake of time to two of you only, and the other ones will have opportunity to answer other questions. So I will ask to Samir, for example, see Samir, how you maintain your startup long term after that you build it. What is your
Yeah, I think so at the beginning, as Omar said, like you are like orchestrator, so you have to do many things. Through time, you have to hire more people, so you have to delegate. So in general, like you do like 10 different things, and after for each like specific thing, you have to hire someone. So having a team through time is helping a lot. And also it's showing that your startup can repeat the same model, so it's scalable. So scalability in the startup is a must. Okay, so scalability in terms of products and scalability in terms of customer. So for customers, if you have few customers, as you said, like 3 or 4, you have to create like kind of automated like process to show that you can sell without any kind of action. So it's more like product led. So product at the beginning your product is not known, so you have to do a lot of marketing and getting first customers. But when you have customers and you have your product market fit, you have to create all the engine to sell to others without doing actions. Yeah, so I think mostly is the team, the processes that you will build through time, and learning by testing, because you continuously will learn and test. Okay, so even it's difficult to think from day one about the strategy for long term. So all things that you will do in future, you have to understand that you will learning through time. If you are building a startup, so you don't have any kind of plan or strategy from day one, so you will adapt, and you have to be hands-on. Okay, so and this kind of flexibility for funders, and also you need to have the same like mindset with the team. So if you hire a team that they share the same mindsets, and they are flexible, and they think about scalability and building engines, so they will do same with the others. Okay, and continuously you will have the same scalability with the team, so the others will hire others, and this is how you grow a startup.
I will ask you the same question, please, to say Omar.
The fact is that I'll take what Samir was saying, that you don't have a strategy from day one, but it's all about the circumstances. And if you look into that startups that are in the early 2000s, like now we talk about Google and Facebook, and if you look into their stories, everyone has a different strategy, and the strategy depends on the process you build, and the process you build is based on will always based on the culture, on the founders, and on the different markets. So there's no like one answer that say, okay, we follow these steps and we will be successful in X years. So that's the thing with startup. There is no recipe to follow. So
I know that there is no recipe, but I think there is one point that in general in startups they need to be like use it. It's to have the feedback of the customers. So because it will give you it will show you where is the problems, where there is room to improve, how to make your startup don't losing customers with the time. So this feedback from the customers, and stay in contact with your customers, and show them that you are all time close to them, you are hearing their problems or hearing their feedback, and you are making change in your strategy or your startup to make it better, to continue with your customers, that I am hand on with you and to continue this journey together.
Yeah. We can argue against that looking at Apple, where Steve Jobs famously never cared about any customer opinion, which goes to the point that there is no recipe. Like most of the time, it depends on the culture. Like we don't have another Steve Jobs for now, but I mean, based on what our understanding, we can see if we rely, like Google, we rely really strongly into feedbacks. But yeah, so
that's true.
If I may add, from an innovation standpoint, only a small fraction of innovation is breakthrough. That means it doesn't have customers, and for those, you're in the blue ocean. That means that you need to educate those customers about this problem or the solution that they don't experience yet. So there is validity to what brother is saying. However, 80% of innovation is incremental, which means you make the processor faster, you create images better, and so on. So for those, you do have a customer base that you need to stay in touch. So not only to, with the focus not to sell them a solution, but to understand the problem that they're facing. And sometimes they're not aware of the problem, so you need to educate them, then develop solutions that can solve those potential problems that they're not even aware of. So one famous example is for Henry Ford regarding talking to your customers. He said that if I ask my customers who are using horses and buggies, what do you want? They would want something fat, a horse and buggy with better features. But he was thinking very different by creating cars, which didn't exist at the time. So there is validity to both, and it depends whether it's in a breakthrough technology or an incremental innovation.
Thank you so much. And for the sake of time, and as the discussion is so rich, and I'm personally enjoying it. So I know you may have talked about this already, and if I may ask two of you, Samy and Dr. Nadia, just to give me like bullet points very shortly, how can you use AI to support the development of your startup for long term? If we may start with Samy.
Yes, of course. Thank you for the question. First thing is ideation. We use it a lot for ideation when we don't know what to do and you feel a little bit stuck. Go to ChatGPT, ask it some question, and talk a little bit with it. The second thing is trying to use it everywhere and trying to automate as much thing as you do. That's what we try to do, whether it's in sales process, for getting leads, whether it's for developers for debugging code, code review, whether it's for design. We use a lot of that in product design also. So we try to incorporate AI in everything we do and in product also. We understand that it will not replace a human. Whatever OpenAI founder and other big tech gurus might tell you, I don't think we will have agents replacing human, at least not based on LLMs. That's another subject. Don't try to automate everything you do. Don't try to automate yourself with AI, but try to automate as much things as you can. That's what we're trying to do. So don't get rid of your people for now.
Thank you. So the same for you, Dr. Nadia, but really briefly, if you may, because we still have some more important questions.
It's okay. I'm so used to, high pressure environments. So I think the AI, if you are a startup and you have less resources, I encourage you to list what areas in your business that drain your energy but still needs to be done. So those are prime areas for your startups to use AI for. I encourage you to understand what's called the customer decision journey, and then position your startup through your content, strategic content, so that you can be the guide who can solve their problem. And not only that, you can use AI to create content that speaks to them and drives them through that decision journey from awareness to engagement to conversion to retention. And because your customers are the biggest supporter for growth in your startup, you can also use it for role play. So if you are, for example, preparing a pitch, you can ask the AI to be your partner and put yourself in the shoes of the VC or the angel, and what questions would they have, or objections they have to prepare better. You can use it for product development, for example, to have very fast iterations for both marketing, for sales copy, and so on. I think the opportunities are endless. Don't try to develop your own AI. Use what's there. Think of it as a tree with a lot of apples. Find which ones are the low-hanging fruit and leverage that. Focus on one business area that takes a lot of time, drains your energy, and then rinse and repeat.
Okay.
I can go on and on because I do have trainings in AI for business, but I'll stop.
I clearly see that. So, but for the sake of time, I think my colleague Omar El-Mohri will move to the next question.
So I have a question about, okay, for those especially that they have startups in Algeria, starting from Algeria. So, and even from the other ones, what are the ingredients or to make your startups competitive? So even in the local Algeria or internationally in the global market, what are the ingredients and what are the things that you need to put in mind to bring your startup from a local environment to more global market? So I will start with Omar. If
yeah, so the ingredients. So we are talking about how we can start from locally. So my experience was a little bit different. Is that we started abroad, but we were hiring people in Algeria. But I think now we are having like a lot of facilities in order to access the global market, like in terms of payment processing and all that. We still have difficulties to be incorporated and located fully in Algeria and do business outside of Algeria. That's still a challenge. I think I don't know about any startup that solve that problem, because that's a legal problem. But we have many workarounds to be kind of both registered in Algeria and outside Algeria. That's the thing that we were doing. So we have customers in Algeria and abroad, but we just kind of combine, like work on them at different levels. So yeah.
Okay. I asked the same question to Younes, if how he can see this. What are maybe the ingredients or the needs to bring his startup, from example, from the local to global market, and what are maybe the challenges? We cannot hear you. You are muted.
Yeah. So for us, it was a bit different because we started in parallel in Algeria and in France. Then we expanded very quickly to other regions like in the Middle East and the US. I would say that to answer exactly the question on how to be competitive in global markets, I think that number one thing is really a mindset. And I see this a lot in Algeria, and we've been talking a lot, for example, with Samir and other friends, is the mindset from day one to understand that you are building a global company and not a local company. It's what will like make your mind and make your brain think as a global company. And whenever you like wire your brain like this, you start seeing things differently. You start trying to look things outside. Even though you focus in the beginning in your local market, that's fine. But if you want to build something global, you need to take into account what other regions might think of your product, what are the things that you can build from day one to make your product fit the global market. As Algeria is a very particular market, and it's not usually easy to scale things abroad. So you need to focus on day one that you want to build a global product. So you need or a broad product, a global solution. And also something very important, and I like to focus on that, is really you need to have a world level of product. I mean, you need to really build very, very good products to compete with other regions. I mean, you need to get into your mind that you are competing with people in all over the world that are building things also maybe like you are doing, and you need to keep that in mind. You need to have the best product and to keep your mind that you are building something global from day one.
Okay, thank you so much for your answer. I just want to say that I've been reading the questions from the audience, and I'm not ignoring them. It's just they are being answered by the discussion anyway, but it was brought to my attention, someone asking for a quick advice. I will display the question, and if you can briefly give him some advice, because he's saying that I'm ready to launch my startup in Algiers, just waiting for the label to be ready. Do you think it's a good idea? I think it is. How do I address the talk to clients before launching the product phase? So he's asking about how to approach the clients and start the talking. Anyone wants to give? Yeah?
Go ahead. You want to go first?
You go first, briefly, and then we go to Omar. Yeah.
Sure. I think it's a great idea because the startup ecosystem within Algeria is new. So they're starting with incubators, accelerators, and so on. I encourage you to talk to your customers and stakeholders. So why is that? Because this will allow you to understand where are you operating. Is there other competitors? What's your unique value proposition? What makes you different? Do you have the right team to do that? Is that a painful enough problem for people to seek your solution? So once you do that customer validation it's not through surveys, it's a combination of surveys and face-to-face or via Zoom, so you can gauge the sentiment of these people. Is it painful enough for them? And are they willing to pay for it? Find out how are you going to sustain that? What's the model for revenue for your incubator? Are they going to pay for it themselves? Or is it somebody else, a university or other people or investors paying you so you can train those startups? So figure out what is the monetization. How do you sustain your startup? Because the number 2 reason for startup failure, and think of your incubator as a startup, is the lack of product market fit. So people have a solution for a problem that people are not willing to pay for. But I think it's a great idea. You can de-risk it by talking to different stakeholders.
Okay, Omar, you wanted to say something?
So for me, I wanted to raise a flag that saying that just waiting for the label, I think that's the wrong approach, because I saw this in Algeria a lot, where people like looking for a label. When they have a startup label, they think they're successful with 0 revenue, which means that don't care about the label, care about the revenue. If you have revenue, because I understand people would have that to maybe like get tax breaks or all that. But if you have the income, you don't care about taxes. But if you have 0% tax on 0 dinars, like you have nothing. So don't just ignore the label and just go for the product and launch it and make sure that it generates revenue. And then the label will come later, will be a good thing. But if not, startups are built like outside systems, like traditionally was outside systems. We don't want to like make them structured with labels and just names. So
how about the second part of the question, talking to clients? What do you suggest?
Well, so yeah, usually that's the first step to do. I would suggest even doing that before start building the product, because it
Okay.
saves times. It at least validates the idea that what I'm going to build will make sense. So it saves times and resources. Because waiting for the label and then we're talking to the customers kind of feels like we are doing things like the administrative things before making sure that this is a good idea.
Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Thank you.
I have another a question recurrent that many audience member ask. So it's about the how to find like the money, especially in Algeria. So this Mr. Rafiq ask if you can go deeper in this point, how to find an investor from Algeria. For example, where you need to go to, like to check or ask. Okay, I have an idea, but from where I get money? This is a big question. So for those, especially they are in Algeria, please go ahead.
Maybe I can answer this one. I have an idea on that one. Of course, the VC environment in Algeria is not as the Silicon Valley, for example. It's not the same thing. But I know that there is one big investor in Algeria, which is Algeria Startup Fund. And I know that they invest a lot, even though it's not, all the time public, but they invest in a lot of companies and decent amount of money if you compare it to what to Algeria, for example. So I would say that probably the first investor that I would look for is ISF. Then I know that there are private investors that less known from public, that you can know once you get into the investment process. As Samir said, maybe talking to the people is not that easy in Algeria, I guess. But my answer is number one is ASF. I know that they invest a lot in a lot of companies. They have, of course, some requirements, so they don't invest in anything, but they invest decent amount of money, and it's probably the one that I would look for in the beginning.
Yeah,
Okay.
Maybe I can add another advice is talking to the best way to get investors in Algeria and any country. So we got like investment from business angels in Algeria, so Algerians. So it's having startup introductions. So if you are in specific sector and like startup, they raise like X amount of money, you can talk with them, and ask for introduction to their investors, and I think it's one of the best way to get investors. So just ask if there is like a startup they raise with Algeria, like ASF or specific business angel or outside. Don't put any limits. You can get investment from any others country. Algeria, we have very good like talents and products, tech products, startups. So you can ask intros from others, like, and they can help, in general, like Algerian help.
If I may add, if I may add also, if the startup is early stage, they have the option of non-dilutive financing, meaning they don't give equity in return for some money through pitch competitions, for example. I've mentored a couple of pitch competitions trainings, AgriTech Challenge and Mosta Expo, and the winners, they got up to 100 million en dinars Algerian. So it's a small amount, but if it's at the very beginning, before you're fundraising from angels, having those pitch competition money under your belt is somehow de-risks your startup before and gives you a leg up when you are approaching angel investors or other investors.
Thank you so much for answering the audience questions. I have one last question, maybe, and it was from one of our supporters, Dr. Boujillal, who is with us here. And going back to our Algeria, if I may say, So in the context of Algeria, what area is most promising for startup? If I can get everyone's opinion quickly. I will go with the order I have on my screen. Samy, you go first.
It's a very broad question. It's hard to answer, but I think in Algeria, the fact we talk about a lot about marché vierge, we hear that a lot. I think what that means is that people are eager to try new things. We don't have all the people, big players that you might find in the US or in Europe, in all the fields, like whether it's farming, whether it's medicine, whether it's anything. So people that can't buy solutions from abroad will be very acceptant of trying your solution, which we will not find in Europe, for example, or in the US. You come to a market with a new technology, you have 10 other companies or 100 other companies doing the same thing, so you have to differentiate yourself. In Nigeria, you don't have that, so I think that's the best advantage for Algeria, just to have it. You have to find people who are interested, though. Not all farmers will want some new tech things, but if you find one, they will not have any other alternatives than you. So the same thing for medicine or any other field. So you'll have to find the right person who is interested in what you do, and since they don't have an alternative, they will go with you. I think.
Yeah, thank you so much. So Omar, you go next.
Yeah, so we know it's kind of, and we still don't have a mature market for like mostly all industries. So my thinking is that any industry would work, except that we don't look for the market. We look for our expertise and what we are able to do in regarding our expertise. So I wouldn't think that someone with chemical like experience, chemical industry experience, go into software. So that would not help. So going into each person with his expertise in the same domain because they have experience, and also don't go with complex things because in Algeria we like basic things. That when you focus on basic things, like there's agriculture, it's really promising.
Yeah.
Where if you go into other countries, maybe it's saturated, but it's not the case in Algeria. So anything that is simple would get like higher rate of success and lower risk compared to like innovative technology.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, and it actually makes sense. Next, we have Younes. Your thoughts, please.
Yeah, I have a very different view of things. As so I think there are a lot of things to do for the local market, of course, but I think there is a quite unique lifetime opportunities that is presenting to Algeria and to all people, which is AI, and it's really removing the barriers of what you can do for, again, seeing things globally, building things for developers, for example, or for other type of people. Take for example Lovable. It's a product that was scaled in 3 months to $10 million, and it's only a wrapper over ChatGPT, and there is absolutely no technical no things that someone in Algeria couldn't do, for example. And I think we should see things like this. I mean, what are the things that other people may need in the world, like developers, for example. There are a lot of developers, and they're consuming a lot of tools. And these are things that the barriers to develop a dev tool, for example, or tools like this, it's very low. I mean, you don't need to be present in any region of the world to build this kind of tools. So it's a unique opportunity, and I think people should really, really think globally to build global tools. I mean, there's no reason we can do it right now.
Thank you so much for your thoughts. Next, Dr. Nadia, if you can briefly tell us in 30 seconds, please.
Sure. I believe that the agri-tech sector has a huge potential in Algeria. especially if we are to align it with the global sustainability goals for the WHO. So we can be the leader for arid regions, for example. So we can eliminate poverty through nutritious food by incorporating agri-tech and biotech together to solve poverty related to nutrition. I'm very bullish on that. I add my point to, leveraging the new tech because it removed those barriers, technical barriers. If you can talk to a chatbot, you can develop a solution. So use that expertise, your unique know-how to solve the problems at the global stage.
Thank you so much. And lastly, Samir, if you can tell us your opinion, please.
Yeah, I will take a different way to answer to the question. So I think in Algeria we have very good engineers. So in Algeria and outside Algeria. So I'm still seeing like and meeting co-founders from Algeria like doing very technical products. So I think Algeria has we have like very good I think it's part of our education, like a lot of mathematics, physics, and stuff. I think we have very good opportunity. AI is good, but I think all other markets like cloud or but using technology. Okay, so like more technical based startup like tech startups, because we have very good engineers, we can play with the prices because in general like technical products are very expensive and they are mostly for B2B, like to corporates, and we can have this kind of ways of building tech startups, and the timing is very good now because there is a lot of crisis around the world, like a lot of companies they are thinking about cost savings, and if we build good technical startups, and they will not care about it's coming from Algeria, so they the number one now thing is ROI. So if we have very good technical products at the level, and I'm sure we can do it at the level of the existing products in different fields with the better ROI, I think we can have good results, and not put a limit. I think it was said by all the panelists. So sky is the limit. You can build a team in Algeria and having all your team in Algeria, and engineering team and everything, because we have very good engineers, but sell externally. Okay, Algerian market is very difficult to get customers. So don't focus only to sell in Algeria, sell externally, and we have like a lot of customer stories in Algeria showing that they can sell to many like countries around the world. So this is my advice.
Thank you, Samir, so much for your answer. And before I pass the word to my colleagues, I would like to really thank you a lot for your presence today and for your time. Like 2 hours is a lot. And I personally learned a lot, and I'm sure you inspired many of the audience, and wishing you the best. And hopefully we will see more of your success stories.
Thank you, Bilal. Thank you, Bilal. I want also to thank all of you for all this insightful and thought that you share with our audience and with us. I learned a lot also today, especially today. Don't forget, it's day Yawm al-Ilm in Algeria. So it's why we organize this, especially in this day. It's to celebrate our Yawm al-Ilm. And I want just to add that Algeria now it's putting more effort. We create a ministry of startups. They are creating a lot of funding for around the universities. They are sending funding the students if they have good ideas in different universities. So it's a good opportunity in Algeria that the government is making now, and to like promote for this a new generation of companies, the startups, and helping the new idea to raise. So I want to thank you all for this discussion, very rich in informations, and I hope to see you in future panels and discussions where we can maybe contact you one by one and give a presentation with more deeper information about your startups and promote your startups with our group of Algerian abroad. So to close, I will pass to Dr. Boujellal to say a last word and close the day. He is our leader, so he's the organizer with us.
He's our supporter.
Yes.
Well, it's really pleasure. I really enjoyed it. And I think the message I took is just do it. Just go and do it. Try it. And you fail, and the failure is part of the success. Without failing, I think we will not success. And I was thinking about Younes Nemla. I think we need to the solider of Suleiman, and I think we are the solider of Suleiman. So that match the Nemlet Suleiman and Junud Suleiman. So we are the solider of Algeria, and this is just, I think it's just a flavor of what Algeria is making. We are all graduated from Algeria, alhamdulillah. Each one of us is in one part of the world, and our heart is Algeria. And we are proud of ourselves, inshallah. And startup, it's, I think, just the new era. And the I think, is the new era. And as Samir, Younes, and all of you, we need to think big. We need to think outside. And inshallah, we'll make it. Thank you so much. It's really enjoyable. And inshallah, we will meet one day in Algeria, maybe in the summer.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Shukran.
Thank you, everyone.
And thank you to the audience that
Thank
they
you to the audience as well. Yeah.
ask questions. And
Yeah.
thank you to all the audience. And see you soon in another panels and event.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum.
Enjoy your day, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.